Let me tell you something that surprised me when I first dug into it. If you're a man over 55, there's a decent chance you take a little pill for heartburn, maybe that famous purple one, or one of its cousins, and you've been taking it for years without a second thought. And it does its job, the burning stops. But there's a quieter story underneath that relief, one that almost nobody talks about, and it has everything to do with your blood flow. Stay with me, because the part most men get wrong comes near the end. Here's the honest setup. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to scare you off a medication. I want to be crystal clear about that right now, because I'm going to ask you to be smart, not afraid. What I am is a guy who reads the research so you don't have to, and who talks to men over 60 every single week about energy, circulation, stamina, and firmness, the things that quietly slip when the plumbing isn't working the way it used to. So let's start with the machine itself. Firmness and performance, real performance, down there, are not magic, and they're not mainly about willpower or even hormones the way most men assume. They're a blood flow event, plain and simple. When everything works, your body releases a little molecule called nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is the signal that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. Open vessels mean more blood arriving where it matters, on demand. That's the whole game. When the vessels stay tight and the nitric oxide runs low, the blood can't show up in the volume you need, and you feel it. Less morning strength, less fullness, a response that's slower and softer than it used to be. Now here's the piece that connects to that purple pill. Your blood vessels don't relax on their own goodwill. They need raw materials. And one of the most important, most overlooked of those materials is a humble mineral called magnesium. Magnesium is involved in the very machinery that lets your vessels loosen and lets nitric oxide do its work. Think of it as the grease in the hinge. Without enough of it, the hinge gets stiff, and stiff vessels are the enemy of good flow. So where does the heartburn pill come in? This whole class of medication, the strong acid reducers, the ones a huge number of men over 55 take daily, works by powerfully lowering the acid in your stomach. Great for heartburn. But here's the catch researchers have been circling. That same stomach acid is part of how your body pulls magnesium out of your food. Turn the acid way down for years, and some studies have raised the question of whether you're also quietly absorbing less magnesium over time. Less magnesium, potentially, means less of that raw material your vessels depend on to relax and open. Now I have to be careful and fair here because I promised you smart, not scared. This link is still being studied. It is not settled science. Research is looking at the connection between long-term use of these acid-reducing pills and lower magnesium levels in some people. It's debated, and not every man on these pills will have a problem. Honestly, when I first read about this, I was skeptical too. It sounded like the kind of thing the internet loves to blow out of proportion. But the more I read, the more I thought, this is at least worth knowing about, and worth a conversation with your own doctor. That's the spirit of this whole video. Awareness, not alarm. So how would you even know if your magnesium might be running low? Let me give you 3 signs to listen for. Do this with me right now. Actually take stock as I go, because this is the part that matters for you personally. Sign number 1, muscle cramps and twitches. The classic one is the calf cramp that wakes you at night, or that little eyelid twitch that won't quit, or a stubborn knot in your foot. Magnesium is what lets muscles release after they contract. When it's low, muscles get jumpy and slow to let go. So, be honest, have you noticed more of those lately? File that away. Sign number 2, poor sleep and a restless, wired feeling, especially in the evening. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system. When it's short, a lot of men describe lying down exhausted but feeling like the engine won't shut off. If your sleep has quietly gotten worse over the same years you've been on that pill, that's worth noticing. Sign number 3, and this is the one that ties it all together, a slow fade in morning strength and firmness with no obvious other cause. If your blood sugar is fine, your weight's steady, and you're not on a pile of other medications, but the response down there has been quietly weakening. Remember, the vessels that supply performance are the small ones. They show vascular trouble first, often years before your heart ever complains. That's why what happens below the belt is one of the earliest warning lights on the whole dashboard. So a slow fade there isn't just a bedroom issue. It can be an early messenger about your circulation in general. By the way, there's a natural blood flow support I personally like for helping the body do this relaxing and opening job. I left it down in the description if you ever want to look into it. No pressure at all, it's just there. Okay? So what do you actually do with all this? Here's where I need you to hear me very clearly because this is the part most men get wrong, and getting it wrong can hurt you. Do not stop your heartburn medication on your own. Please, do not. Some of these pills, if you quit them cold after long-term use, can cause your stomach to rebound with even more acid than before. And for some men, that medication is treating something genuinely serious. This video is not permission to throw your pills in the trash. This is permission to ask a better question. The smart move is a conversation with your doctor. Bring it up plainly. I've been on this acid reducer for years. Should we check my magnesium level? And is it still the right medication for me? Or could I be on a lower dose or a gentler option? That's it. That's the whole ask. A simple blood test can look at where you stand, and your doctor can weigh whether your dose, your duration, or your whole approach still fits where you are today. You'd be surprised how often nobody revisits a pill once it's on the list. It just rides along, year after year. You have every right to put it back on the table. And while that conversation happens, you can quietly support the magnesium side through food, the stuff your grandmother would recognize: pumpkin seeds, spinach and other dark leafy greens, black beans, a square of real dark chocolate, almonds, avocado. None of that interferes with anything. It's just giving your vessels back some of the raw material they've been missing. Pair that with a daily walk to physically push blood through those small vessels, and you're working both ends of the problem. Let me close the loop I opened at the start. That quiet little purple pill isn't a villain in a cape. It's a tool, a useful one for a lot of men. But any tool used for years without a second look can have a cost you never agreed to. And when the cost might be the very mineral your blood flow leans on, that's worth 2 minutes of curiosity and one good conversation with your doctor. The men who age well aren't the ones who panic. They're the ones who stay curious and ask the question nobody else thought to ask. And like I mentioned, if you want to check out the natural blood flow support I use myself, it's down in the description. Totally optional. Just a friend pointing at something useful. Remember, everything I shared today is general education, not medical advice, and it's no substitute for your own doctor who knows your history. Keep moving, stay curious, and take care of those small vessels. They're trying to tell you something. I'll see you in the next one.